cabin. Welcome back. I'm sorry it's been a long time no see. Life has been really busy. However, I have been seeing people's mid-year WIP parades popping up and I've been really enjoying watching them, including Jessie Marie's mammoth 2-hour-long movie fest, which was brilliant. Loved it. And so I thought that would be perfect. So we can have a look at the progress that I've made in the first half of the year and see if I am on track with my stitching goals. Spoiler alert, I'm not. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to spin you around and then we'll look through the project. This is my oldest WIP. So I started this in December 2017. So definitely my oldest WIP by a long way. And this is the progress so far. Since the start of the year, I've done about 3,000 stitches. So not as much progress as I wanted because I am still hoping to get this finished by the end of the year. That was one of my goals. And so I'm definitely behind on that. So this is stitched on the 16 count grey Aida that came with the kit. Wouldn't necessarily recommend the fabric. It's very stiff and they give you very poor margins. However, this year what I've done is I have stitched this bit here in front of the cabin. And then I'm coming across to work in the forest here. So there's the forest and then there's a little fence or a little bridge, I think, that goes over the river. And so I'm just starting to hit that bridge here now. And I really, like I say, I really would like it done and up on my wall by the end of the year or January time. We'll see whether I manage that, but you can see that I've started parking, which I didn't think I could do with a Dimensions kit, because obviously with the Dimensions Gold kits, some of the sometimes you use 6 strands, sometimes you use 1, sometimes it's full cross, half cross, and if you're using 6 strands, I generally double my thread over, so I'm pulling 6 through and not 12 through. So I didn't know how parking would go, but so far it's so good. I'm actually enjoying being able to really see the progress. So what I need to do is I still need to backstitch the cabin, which will really make it pop. But I'm hoping that in this coming month in July, if I can do as much of this little forest section as possible, and then maybe even come down and complete the sort of snowy beach. That would be amazing. But yeah, I would definitely like to get my oldest WIP done. Next up is Castle View, artwork by Alexandra Gavrilova, charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. Started this on in 2nd of May 2020. I had originally planned to do this on 18 count, and then I changed my mind and switched to the 25 count just to make it a little bit smaller. I've just covered up here because this is my July stitching for this month. So far I've done about 7,000 stitches, so I've had to stitch, I think this is page 1, page 2. This is stitched 1/1 full cross. And then I finally, coming out of the pink sky, and we're just about now starting on this lovely arch, and there'll be arch and roses. And then I've also come across here and just done a few stitches just so that I could see the full width of the piece. I love this artwork. I think it's gorgeous, and I haven't seen anybody else stitching this. And my goal for the year is to finish the whole of the top row. I am hanging on in there. I'm a little bit behind on this goal too, but I'm getting there. I'm just going to keep trucking on, try and make progress. Right, next in my rotation is the RSN, the Royal School of Needlework. I call it the Goldwork butterfly. It's actually called Goldwork and Silk Shading. And I think this is the next steps course, so it's actually an intermediate course. I have never done any goldwork or silk shading really before. I've done sort of thread painting, but not quite this kind of silk shading. And I started this on the 7th of March 2022. And so you can see it's absolutely gorgeous. It has got such a gorgeous sparkle. I think that the sparkle in it is what drew me to trying goldwork, and the metallic threads are just absolutely gorgeous. They really are. So I started the year on part 8. And then so far this year, I have then moved on and I completed the flower petals. So that's the silk shading on the flower petals. Then I have started on the large leaves. So I just made a little start on the large leaves. Next up, we've got another Heaven and Earth Designs. This is Castle Wolves, artwork by Jan Patrik Krasny. And I saw the Silver Stitcher on Instagram who had started this. I think she started the mini version. There was just something I loved about the castle and the kind of magical faraway castle feel, like the fairy tale castle, that I really liked. I only started this in last November. So this is how far we have got to, and I have made quite a lot of progress so far this year. We finished page 1 and then we're moving on to page 2, and you can see that page 2 is almost complete. My original goal for the year is to reach to here, is to try and reach this moon on this castle. Again, I'm so behind on this goal and I don't know that I will make my goal this year. Part of the reason for that is that I originally planned to do this half stitch, so it's 25 count 2/1, and I was doing half stitch and I didn't like the coverage here, especially in these dark colours, and there are quite a few dark colours just with the shadows and things. So I've seen other people stitch half stitch on 25 count 2/1 and it looks great, so it must just be me. But I have then switched on page 2, I've gone back to full cross, so it's definitely slowed me down, and I did not factor in the amount of confetti that's in this piece. It's so much confetti. So it does look really good though, but whether I will actually make my goal, it's not looking likely, but never say never. I'm not giving up yet. So we will see how far we can get on my wolves. Okay, next up, we've got another 2 WIPs here, both by Durene Jones. Autumn Is and Winter Is. So let's do winter first. This is stitched on 32 count opalescent even weave. I made good progress on this last winter, where I finished the central motif and then I started on the robin motif. I literally just put in about 300 stitches on this scarf, I think. This was more in my rotation during the winter months, so I would work on this December, January and February. That was the plan. But then with me changing my rotation, this isn't actually going to come out to play until I have finished the Royal School of Needlework Goldwork butterfly. Once I finish that, then I will be working on this one. But I absolutely love it and I can't wait to get them finished so that I can display them. And then we've got the autumn version. So this is stitched on 32 count Belfast in antique white. I love this fabric. I didn't used to like linen, but I've really got into it. So you can see this is how far we've got, and this is another one that just has not been worked on so far this year. So I need to start knocking out some of those WIPs in the number 3 slot. Which I am doing. I'm making really good progress on those, and then I will start coming through and working on these ones. I don't think I'm gonna work on them in their season like I was doing before. So before I was working on this in September, October and November, and then it would go away for the rest of the year. Whereas I think what I'm going to start doing like I said, is just concentrate on one at a time, and then I have got something to display in that season. So that's another one that he's working on. I thought I hadn't started The Summer by Durene Jones, and I found it just recently, and I realised I have made a start because I've started on some of these flowers and then this central motif, and I put it in a safe place and I cannot find it again. So I've lost this WIP twice and I have no idea where I've put it, so I need to find that. But to be honest, this is quite a way down the line. I will be doing autumn and winter before I need to find this. And just for stats, I'll just show you the comparison here. There we go. So with winter, I'm up to 2,800 stitches. So we are halfway there on this. It doesn't look like it, but like I say, that central motif is so dense, and then the other motifs are just round. And the autumn is about 20% complete. So I started winter in December of 21, and then I started autumn in October 22. So there was about a year's difference with these two. And I can't wait to stitch on those. Next up are a couple of smalls, and I don't tend to really count these as part of my main rotation. These are just little pieces that I take out and about as and when. If I'm traveling or I'm going to someone's house or I've got a little appointment to wait for, then I will take them and work on them. So this is one of my designs. It's called You Are My Sunshine. And I'm stitching this on 32 count blue Murano, and I need to work on this because I haven't worked on this so far this year, and I've just got a few like sunbeams there, and then the word sunshine down at the bottom. So yeah, stitching cabin design, and I need to finish it. Then I've got this little small here. So that's how she will look when she is finished, and this is her now. This is from the March 2015 Cross Stitcher magazine. I can't remember when I started her. I think it was last year some point. I don't tend to keep the records as much for the little ones, like I said, the little mini projects. I just stitch them as and when, really. So I think I started her when we were camping on holiday. And at the moment, yeah, she's looking good. We're getting there with this one. So this is a kit. It's a little bit different. So it comes with a little card to put her in afterwards, and then you get all the threads and things, and then you get like a, what do you call that? Like a fusible, like a bonding webbing, and then all of the little clothes. So then you can choose what clothes to put her on her. So you can see in the one, in the model stitch, they've got the boots and the umbrella and a little dress. But if you didn't like that, then you can choose like the balloon or a little skirt or something. So I've been really enjoying stitching her, just like I said, when I go out to somebody's house, or if I've got a few minutes to stitch. It's lovely having a little travel project. So she comes out and about with me, and if I just get like a few stitches in, then that's fine. And she's not in my rotation as such. Right, next up we have the Tulip Garden. And again, this is one of my designs. This is a stitching cabin design, and it's based on the Tulip Festival that is held at the Hampton Court every year, every spring. And Hampton Court is obviously where the Royal School of Needlework are based. And so that was the inspiration for the design. I started this one in March last year, so March 22, and I've completed all of the main stitches. It's all full full cross. This is stitched on 14 count opalescent Aida. However, I just need to finish the black back stitching. So I've done all the back stitching on the fountains already, but there's a lot of back stitching with this piece, and I do think it's worth it because it really does make it all pop. But yeah, the back stitching is heavy going and I only have myself to blame. So I've done this, well, I haven't even done most of this top one, have I? Again, I'd really like to get this finished this year so then I can mount it and display it. I just need to crack on with it really. You can see that I just did the back stitching in order to check the design. I just sort of did the top, like the quarter of it, knew it worked, knew I was happy with it, and then haven't done the rest, but I really want to get this finished. So that's definitely one that I need to give more attention to. I was hoping to do more on it this spring, and then I never did, so I need to work on that. This one isn't technically a WIP anymore. This is now a finished piece, but I'll show you because I've only just finished it. So this is Pembroke Coast, and this is one that I have designed myself. I've mounted it in this 6-inch hoop. I took inspiration from a photo I had taken while on holiday in Pembroke. And we went on this walk by the cliffs, and you could see down into all these coves with this amazing turquoise water. And so I decided to try and turn the photograph into an embroidery, and I was heavily inspired by Mishi Embroidery over on Instagram. She does amazing ones of these. She can turn any photo into embroidery, and she does amazing commissions for people. So this is my first go, and then you can see the back. Very messy back. So this is all stitched with one strand of floss, just DMC, but I just had basically all the colours I own, and I would just try and match them to the photos. But I really like the way it catches the light, so it really does look sort of like grass and sea. And this was one that I really wanted to finish this year. So I started this on the 30th of March 2022, and I finished it this June. So I've only just finished it, and like I said, I've got it into its 6-inch frame, but I need to maybe work out how to finish it. So I think I need to get some felt and then do some crafty nonsense to try and neaten the back up like that or something. The only thing I'm disappointed about with this is that I have somehow got my measurements slightly wrong. So you can see here, it doesn't quite fit in the frame. There's just a few mils all the way around, which at first I was really gutted about. I thought I had made the piece 6 inches, but clearly I was just a little bit short, so that's a shame. But I'm not going to be there's no way that I'm going to be trying to like fill in the little stitches, so it is what it is. And I'm really pleased with this piece. It gets a lot of attention if visitors come. People can't believe it's stitched, and there's a lot of mistakes here. There was a lot of learning as I went. I tend to refer to this as thread painting just because I feel like I haven't got the silk shading technique down like the Royal School of Needlework would want you to do it. I just kind of basically painted with the thread. So if the grasses were going all directions, I'd kind of follow the direction of the grass. Did all these little coastal flowers, that's gorse here, and just tried to sort of copy the photo and the lines in the photo as much as possible. So yeah, I'm thrilled with how this has turned out. I really am thrilled, and yeah, just really pleased with this piece. So now this one is done, I'm now focusing on the Goldwork butterfly. So that was how I decided to do that. So hopefully by the end of the year I will have finished it off, so then I can hang it and display it on the wall. And last up we have the final Heaven and Earth designs. This is PK Poppies, which I think stands for pink poppies. I just call it poppies. And this is artwork by Jo Lynch. I'm just going to cover up that little bit there because we have already started July, and so that's my July stitching, so I will show that at the end of the month. So this was a restart. This was a project that was in time out for quite a number of years. I have started and restarted it, and I've had problems with it every single time. Finally, we are third time lucky and it's gone really well. Yay. So I restarted this in April. So the first time I started stitching on this, you can see I've chopped it up here, so I used the fabric for something else. I started stitching this on 14 count opalescent Aida, and I was stitching it 3/1 full cross. I've no idea why I chose the 14 count Aida. I don't know why I didn't just go for 18 count. I don't know what I was thinking really. Part of it was I didn't want to stitch all of the white around the piece, and I thought that if I did it on the opalescent I could just stitch the colour, leave out the background, and the sparkles would look pretty, which could have worked, but you lose that watercolour effect. It has quite a definite harsh line. I also decided I didn't like the 14 count, and I didn't like stitching 3 strands over 1. It just used up so much thread. So I actually restarted it. You can see this piece has been through it. I restarted on 25 count. You can see my meagre start here. Teeny tiny, it's very cute. This time I was going to stitch the white, and this is half stitch, 2/1. And this would have worked okay. However, I stitched the top leg of my crosses this way from bottom left to top right. And so when I stitch half stitches, I need to stitch that way too, otherwise I get into a muddle. For some reason, I think because it was the first time I was doing tent stitch, I stitched it the other way. So I was stitching the bottom leg of my stitching, which made it good for parking because that's where I park. But I didn't like stitching on the wrong diagonal for my stitches. It was throwing me off. So it went back into timeout for another couple of years, and I decided to restart it, and ta-da! So here we are. I have started stitching this, and this is the last time I'm going to restart because I'm loving it now, on 18 count Aida, 2/1 full cross, and this is my happy place, and I've absolutely loved this. You can see I've made quite a lot of progress since April, and I am stitching some of the white background. So all the way around it actually has a thicker white border. I've taken about 10 stitches, 10 stitches high and 10 stitches wide off each of the borders pretty much. I think this side might have about 5 stitches. So it was quite good. So when I marked it off in Pattern Keeper, I kind of went from 0% to 12% just with marking off some of this white that I didn't want so much white to stitch. So that got me 7,500 stitches. It's about 60,000 stitches altogether. And I am now up to 18% complete, taking into account all of those white border stitches that I haven't stitched but I have marked off as complete. And absolutely, like I said, absolutely loving it. I decided to park for this, park and make my way along that top row, mostly because I just couldn't face trying to stitch that page 1 like again for the 3rd time. yeah, you can see the difference there between the 14 count and the 25 count. So that's why I decided to go all the way along the top, just to get myself a little bit different variety. But absolutely loving it. I can't wait to work on this now, which is the whole point of like restarting, because it's a project that you love and you don't want to give up on. But sometimes you just need trial and error to find the right fabric. So I'm thrilled I've restarted it, and I'm really, really enjoying stitching on it. So that's all my WIPs. So that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed seeing all of the progress or lack of progress. I've done much better on some projects than others, and hopefully can continue to work on all my projects and try and get some of my goals knocked out. I've got 6 months before the end of the year, and so we'll see if I can meet my goals. The fun is in trying, isn't it? So thank you ever so much for watching. Take care.